Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-dudes.com. Two proper pints right here in front of us. We're going to do a little style profile. Can I reveal what it is?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So Mike said, are you ready to get your world rocked? And of course, you know, the answer is affirmative. This is a dark mild?
English dark mild.
An English dark mild, which I think you've brewed in the past. You've resurrected this for you know, the current times. So I'd love to hear more about what went into this beer and how you brewed it.
So this is an English dark mild, and this is actually a continuation on pulling out some of my older English ale recipes and using West Yorkshire, repitching some West Yorkshire yeast, the Wyeast, Wyeast 1469. So the basic recipe is Maris otter. It's about 78%, 79% Maris otter. It's a small touch of, it's 6% Cara Red, 6% wheat malt, 3% pale chocolate, 3% special roast, and 3%, actually 1.5% of midnight wheat just for color adjustment. So that's 6.5 gallons post boil. So that's 6 pounds of Maris, 8 ounces or half pound of Cara Red, half a pound of wheat malt, quarter pound of pale chocolate, and quarter pound of special roast, and like 2 ounces of wheat, midnight wheat. And this got 1 ounce of Willamette for 60 minutes, just to give you a little bit of bitterness. The starting gravity on this baby, because this is dark mild after all, is 1036. I mashed this in at 152, and I wish it was a little bit higher, but that's fine. And then it finished at 1009, so for an ABV of about 3.6%. So it fermented at 65 degrees. I fermented it cool for about 2 weeks, and then I ramped it up to 75 to make sure I got a little diacetyl rest, because those English yeasts, especially I was fermenting it cool. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure if there wasn't a diacetyl rest, I would kill that. And this actually, so the brewing water, this is a mixture between RO water. It's about, I make up 12 gallons all at one time. So it's 8 gallons of RO with 4 gallons of our tap water. Now our tap water is notoriously high in sodium content, but to overcome sodium chloride specifically, so to overcome that, I also added 10 grams of gypsum, calcium sulfate, and 5 grams of calcium chloride. I didn't need any acid in the thing to do that. So that gets me about to 100 ppm of calcium. And the dilution with the RO, that brings my sodium down to 38 ppm. Sulfate's about 125, and the chloride's about 141. So the chloride's still kind of high. It's a little bit higher on the chloride to sulfate ratio, but not by much, 141 to 125. So that is the basics of this this beer. And I was just going for trying to play with like really low gravity brewing, and resurrect, you know, English dark mild. I didn't want. I have that house stout back there too, and while the weather is cooling off, you know, although today was one of the warmer days we've had in the fall.
I know.
But this beer is coming in as supposed to be an easy drinker. So I'm gonna take a couple more sips. You tell me what you think.
On the nose, some nice graham cracker notes. Yeah, definitely like a little biscuity, but like I get like a strong graham cracker. Yeah. Brown sugarish, you know, side of aroma, and then it follows through in the taste for sure. Yeah, it just comes like in a nice wave, like right at the beginning. Graham cracker taste with some of the other darker malts that kind of linger on the palate. Some hop presence, not a lot. Easy drinker though. I mean, super.
It's
super easy drinker.
It's almost a little bit like dirty water, really. Like, you know, I mean,
it's super. It's refreshing. I don't know if it's just because it's coming out fairly cold out of your fridge, but it was just like, wow, this is fairly refreshing.
Yeah.
I know it was kind of humid here in Studio A, so a little bit of a nice cold beer kind of suits the mood. But yeah, I mean, this is great. I mean, I wish I had enough memory of the other mild we tried, because then I could say,
it's been a while.
What has the Yorkshire brought to it? But
yeah. I wish there was a little more body in this. I was playing around a little bit. You know, I got 152. I was really hoping to probably go more like 156, but you get a little bit afraid of like, so doughing in with such a small grain amount, right? I'm not used to, usually almost all my recipes start with about 10 pounds of base malt, but this being 6 pounds of base malt and a little bit of specialty malt, you know, I didn't want to overdo it too quickly. So when you have the such a smaller amount of base malt, you might not knock down the temperature as much as you expect it to.
Sure.
I just don't have enough experience with trying to do that in the thing. What I should be doing, because I have a direct fire mash tun, is planning to come in under and then heat up to target. But I was just trying to be cute on this. The other thing for this too is I think it's pretty minerally. I think there's a pretty strong mineral quality to the water, and I think maybe next time if I was to do this again sometime soon, I'd go full RO water just to get rid of, and that way I could back off, because I'm using 10 grams of gypsum to counteract even, you know, 1/3 of the total water is tap water without that high chloride content. I'm still at higher chloride than whatever, and you really can't taste that, but it's all that calcium, in there that I think is like making it pretty minerally. But I mean, is that true to form for English style?
I think it's a feature, not a bug.
You know,
I think that's good.
The other thing too in this beer, I don't have a lot of experience with just using Willamette, but that's what I had in a convenient 1 ounce package. I didn't want to open up more hops just to then, you know, so that's what I had there.
Well, I think that gives you what you're looking for. I mean, from what I can remember, I mean, it is fairly, you know, light in a lot of the descriptors that they talk about. Is it a true like a true Kent Golding's profile? Is it like even your, you know, Fuggles or something like that? Like, is it really earthy? You know, I think it's a little more.
Yeah.
A little more floral than that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it works. I think the one thing, if I was going to ding it, is the body. If you were to make it a little fuller.
Yeah.
But that's just fun experimentation.
And that's the thing you have to focus on a session strength beer, is making sure you derive more flavor in there and some body, so it stays. So it's not just too water-like presenting. I'd probably maybe modify that grain bill and get a little bit more of a caramel presence in there. Or one of those malts needs to come up a little bit just to get the flavor there.
Yeah.
And I could back out of the midnight wheat and still have the same color if I went up on the pale chocolate or something like that.
Sure.
You know, this was sort of a pieced together recipe with what I had left in the bin, and it worked for dark mild, so that's what I made.
That's a little kitchen sink beer in the mild style.
Yeah. The last thing for me on this is that I'm not really sure I actually like the way the West Yorkshire is presenting.
Oh no! In this one?
I don't know. Maybe it's because it's repitch or something. I don't know. But it's. I think the thing is, with this yeast, getting it off of the yeast sooner than what I did, because it's just a little bit of a weird off yeast character to it for me I think, and I think I noticed that on the last West Yorkshire too. It's just, if it sits on the West Yorkshire a little bit too long, there's just something else that gets imparted there, which I don't think I love. I don't hate it. I'm going to drink this whole keg, but I don't know. I mean, comparing this to like other English ale yeasts I've used in the past, it's just, I mean, I still like it, but I think it might work better for some bigger beers for me.
I hear you. I don't think there's anything off-putting, or I don't think I'm getting a lot of like off-flavor yeast character. But you're the one tasting all these beers side by side, so maybe that's where you're getting it. So, so just one question for you. So, like, to really get like sort of more body in a mild style, or even any kind of beer style that has, you know, a very low starting gravity, is it really about that mash temp?
Yeah, I mean, I think the mash temp, a higher mash temp, doesn't really drive body as much as like the old brewing books would tell you it does. It certainly has a pretty good impact on final gravity, right? Yeah. But does it really change mouthfeel, body all that much? Probably not as much as the ingredients themselves do. Right, so maybe putting some dextrin malt in here would help out with that. Okay. I think the grain bill plays a big role in conjunction with mash temperature,
Okay.
right? So like you can have a very dextrinous grain bill, but still do like a 90-minute mash at 145 and probably get a thinner beer than you're expecting to,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's true. But in an average grain bill, in this one, the specialty malts in this are just sort of like small amounts peppered in. There's not any one thing that's trying to hold up that bodybuilding quality. So even if I had matched in higher, there probably isn't enough here to help work that out. So
Okay, so there's a couple of adjustments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. I appreciate it. So hopefully you liked this video. If you did, give us that indication by clicking on the thumbs up button. Subscribe to our channel, because if you like homebrew videos, we do this every single week. For John and Mike, brew-dudes.com, brew on.
cheers.